The Glass Bottom Boat is one of the few Doris Day films I have left to watch, and as I'm coming to the end of them, I was hoping for something pretty good, as I'd heard some good things about it. And yes, it was good. I enjoyed watching it, but it's not as amazing as I expected it to be. There are some things about it that I really thoroughly enjoyed. There were some times when I just thought the narrative really dragged and it wasn't really going anywhere. And I think if they cut out the bits that I didn't like, and I think the bits that I didn't like really didn't add much to the narrative, it would have been a little bit shorter and a little bit more engaging. It's an hour and 50 minutes, one of her longest comedies, and because it's not that funny during those moments, it just tends to drag. Regardless, I did enjoy it. It was released in 1966, directed by Frank Tashlin and written by Everett Freeman, and it stars, of course, Doris Day as Jennifer Nelson, alongside Rod Taylor, Arthur Godfrey, John McGiver, Paul Lynde, and a cast, fantastic supporting cast of other actors. I think everybody was well cast. We had a great mix of characters to keep things, for the most part, quite interesting. I have no issues with the casting whatsoever. The description from IMDb is as follows. After a series of misunderstandings, the head of an aerospace research laboratory begins to suspect his new girlfriend is a Russian spy. So Doris Day is kind of very much playing a girl next door character. She's got this job, and in her spare time she does a lot of evening classes. She's single, she has a lot of animals, she loves animals. I imagine Doris Day had a lot of fun on set with these ones. And, she's absolutely the antithesis of a Russian spy. And it gets them into some kind of ludicrous situations, particularly for the most part, she doesn't know that they suspect this. So a lot of weird things begin to happen for which she cannot really identify a reason. The tagline is, "It's the most hilarious plot with the craziest comedy cast." Now that's not true, it's not the most hilarious plot, but it's fun. It's a fun plot, it's a jolly plot. It doesn't take itself too seriously. And there were some bits where I did kind of, I wouldn't say laugh out loud, but I made a noise. When you kind of laugh, but you're not chortling, you're just squeaking, I think is the word I'm looking for. Particularly the moment with the eye patch. You'll know it when you see it, and it took me a second to work out what was happening, and it was very entertaining. Doris Day's character, Jennifer Nelson, is very interesting sometimes, and sometimes she's not that interesting. To be honest, I think the first third of this film was really interesting, and I thought this could be something. The middle third is where I think the action slowed down, the comedy ebbed. None of the characters, including Doris Day's, were really developing much. They weren't that interesting. And then the final third is where I think it picks up a lot because of a shift in the plot when characters start to, I guess, find out things and different things begin to happen and the setting shifts, and I like that. So if we just remove the middle section and maybe keep in a few of the bits from the middle section just to make the narrative more fluid, then it would actually be a really, really great film. It does have a very interesting soundtrack, and this is one of the films in which Doris Day sings a version of Que Sera, Sera. Not as good as her singing it in The Man Who Knew Too Much, but obviously it's a very different tone and a very different style of film. It does have a very nice soundtrack, and that is something that I did enjoy. I definitely enjoyed that. Would I recommend this? Certainly, absolutely no reason why I wouldn't. It was a decent enough film, and, I'm glad I watched it. I just think it's not Doris Day's finest film. It's not her most interesting character. Vocally, she sings a little bit, but vocally, she doesn't sing too much. Certainly, it's not really a musical. But it's worth watching. If you like films from the 60s, I do think it screams 60s vibes. It definitely does. The narrative, when it's good, is good. Although the middle bit drags, you do just push past it. It's enjoyable. Not the best film I've ever seen, but still pretty good.